So my name is Schlyter, I'm a member of the European Parliament, and with me here I have Philippe Van Parijs. And we are going to talk about basic income. What is that?
Basic income is a specific form of guaranteed minimum income. And so it's specific in the sense that it's universal, it's given to the rich as well as to the poor. It's also unconditional in the sense that there is no counterpart required from the people who receive it, so they're not supposed to work or be willing to work, so it's unconditional in this sense. And it's also strictly individual, so it's given to each person as opposed to being given to a household. So in this sense, you could say it's an unconditional form of guaranteed minimum income.
So it's a kind of freedom for people then to have a basic income, a guaranteed right, and then themselves have a bigger opportunity to choose what they want to do on the labor market, or what is the ideology behind it?
Well, so what you can view it as is a sort of basis on which you can stand and which enables you both to say no to certain things but also to say yes to certain things. So it's not a safety net in which you fall if you have no other source of income. If you fall into poverty, it's something on which you can stand and on which you can build your life. So in this sense, you could say, well, it's a way of giving people not just the formal freedom, the sheer right to do things in life, but it's a way of giving them the real freedom to do things, to orient their lives, to decide with whom to live, to decide what sort of job to do, what job to accept, and what job to refuse.
And this is what I like a lot, because then people can find their own potential and during the whole work life adapt better to when you need to be more with your children, when you need to be retraining for new jobs, and when you need to find a work that is paid for. But how will all this be financed, and how would that work?
Well, there are as many ways of funding it as there are countries in the world, and far more than that, because the various many proposals have been made, even for particular countries, using different ways of funding it. There are the simplest way of funding it in many cases, like in Western Europe, is through a reform of the income tax system, whereby you suppress the exemptions, the tax exemptions, which everyone benefits from, all the taxpayers benefit from at the moment, and you replace these exemptions or these tax deductions by a basic income for all those people who have now a professional income of some sort. Then you, at the same time, you reform the welfare system, the social insurance system, in such a way that every member of society would have an unconditional income at the basis of the rest of its income. In that case, it would be an income tax, but you can also have more or less radical reforms of the tax systems. For example, a substitution of VAT, the value-added tax, for at least some of the income taxation, and so rely on that. Or my own favorite is what I call the Super Tobin tax, which consists in taxing at a small rate, every electronic transaction, while getting rid practically of all cash payments, in such a way that you would then have a strong and nearly sort of painless way of taxing all sorts of incomes in order to fund this basic income for everyone.
Okay, and in Germany we have seen that the level we are talking about is approximately 800 euro that could be easily financed in different ways. But the most common argument I hear when people are skeptical towards basic income is this guaranteed unconditional income. Wouldn't that make people parasiting on the people working and paying the taxes? That's the most common counter argument. What do you reply to that?
Well, first of all, it's important to see that many people who don't have any paid work at the moment are nevertheless doing very useful work. So it's important not to identify paid work and useful work. Some useful work is not paid, and some paid work is not very useful.
Like weapon industry, for example.
Like weapon industry, and there are a number of other examples. So that's one thing. But the most fundamental point about this is really that the people who do have a job, especially those who have a high quality job, a well-paid job, are also people who are free riding on the rest of society, in the sense that they're incorporated in their wage and in their working conditions. There is a massive gift from nature, from past technological progress, from the organization of current society. And these people receive a far bigger gift in this way, of course in exchange for certain efforts, but which in many cases they enjoy doing. They receive a massive gift, far more massive than this small gift, which would be given to everyone, including to these people, in the form of a universal basic income. And so therefore it would be very unjust, unfair for people to say, well, these people who in exchange for this very small income should be forced to do a sort of job which I would hate to do and would never accept to do.
I think that's a wonderful way to end our interview here, because the hidden subsidy of the rich consumer, not only, we have as a green, I have always been speaking about the environmental subsidy, that fossil fuel consumption and other kinds of consumption does not pay the environmental cost, but maybe we also have social costs of this consumption. And we will let our listeners think about that while we go back to the conference. That can be seen abstract also on the internet. Thank you very much.
Thank you.